Let me get this out fast before I change my mind. I wasn't planning to ever speak about her again. I made peace with silence. But sometimes, peace ends with one phone call. The call lasted 27 seconds. That's all it took to blow a hole through 5 years of distance, therapy, and pretending she never existed. It came at 3:41 a.m. I was awake, not because of insomnia or some poetic darkness. My neighbor's smoke alarm had been going off for half an hour, and I was contemplating whether I should knock or just let it burn. Then the phone rang. The number was masked, but I knew. Willa always called at odd hours, always when my guard was lowest. I should have let it go to voicemail. I should have buried the past where it belonged. But instead, I answered. She didn't even say hello. She said one thing, a name. And I swear to you, my blood froze like it had been yanked out and tossed in snow. Jonas. That's all she said. I hadn't heard that name in over a decade. I hadn't let myself think of it. And yet, in one whisper, she opened a door I had slammed shut with bolts, bricks, and prayer. I said, don't say that name. But she did. Again. Softer. And then she cried. Not the kind of cry you fake to get pity. This was the sound of someone who just learned they can't undo what they did. You need to come here, she said. Then she hung up. I stared at the wall for maybe 10 minutes. Maybe more. My phone slid from my hand into the coffee mug on the floor. Jonas was my brother. And he was dead. Or so I thought. I didn't sleep. I didn't even blink. I just sat there like my spine had been replaced with glass, bracing for a collapse. My mind was fighting itself. Half of me wanting to believe Willow was just drunk or cruel, trying to rattle me like she used to, and the other half too paralyzed to dismiss what I'd heard. Jonas, my brother, my only sibling. He died in a car crash 11 years ago. Or at least, that's what the coroner told us. Closed casket. Burned beyond recognition. I remember Mom screaming when she saw the folder, not the body. I remember the box of ashes they handed us. I remember the weight of that urn. So what was Willa talking about? I told myself I wouldn't go. That I had boundaries now. Growth. Self-respect. But all that vanished by sunrise. I was halfway down I-86 before I realized I hadn't even changed out of my hoodie from the day before. She sent me an address. Nothing else. No context. No explanation. It was a house I didn't recognize, 3 counties over, in a town that barely had a gas station. When I pulled up, the place looked empty. Curtains drawn. No car out front. My chest tightened. The last time I trusted Willow with a location, I walked in on her and Dean doing things that still keep me up at night. But this time, there was no Dean. Just silence. I knocked. Nothing. I waited. Knocked again. Then the door opened. But it wasn't her. It was a teenage boy. Maybe 16. Same eyes as Jonas. Same slouch. Same damn smirk. He looked right at me and said, "You're late." And I swear, the air around me disappeared. "Who are you?" I asked, barely able to breathe. He shrugged. "I think you already know." Then Willa stepped into view, pale, shaking, holding something wrapped in cloth. "I never meant to keep him from you," she whispered. "But it's time you knew everything." The wrapped bundle in Willa's hands trembled like she was holding a grenade with the pin halfway pulled. She motioned for me to come inside, but my legs didn't work. Not really. I stepped over the threshold like it might vanish under my feet. The house smelled like burned toast and old furniture, but none of that mattered. I couldn't stop staring at the boy. He leaned against the wall like this was all normal. Like we weren't shattering the rules of reality just by existing in the same space. Willa placed the cloth bundle on the coffee table, carefully, like it was sacred. She didn't say anything for a moment, just sat down across from me, her eyes darting between the boy and me like she was calculating how badly this would hurt. Then she finally said it, soft but sharp. "That's your nephew, Jonas's son." I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, but because I genuinely thought I'd lose my mind if I didn't make some kind of sound. "He died, Willa. You remember that? Or was that a different brother you buried next to our father?" She looked like she wanted to be sick. The boy stayed still, quiet, but his fists clenched at his sides. "Jonas didn't die," she said. "He disappeared. He staged the whole thing." My head spun. My throat went dry. "You knew?" I asked. "You knew and didn't tell me for 11 years. She shook her head fast. "I didn't know then. I found out after we divorced. He contacted me a year later. Said he couldn't reach out to you. Said you'd never forgive him." She paused. "He didn't know he had a son until I told him." My stomach twisted. What? Willa opened the cloth slowly. Inside was a stack of letters, some torn, all addressed to me. He wrote you, she said. For years. I kept them. I stared at the pages like they were cursed. Why? I whispered. Why would you keep them from me? She wiped her eyes and said something I'll never forget. Because I didn't want you to go looking for him. I knew if you found him, you'd stop needing me forever. I stared at the letters like they were soaked in poison. I didn't reach for them. I didn't trust my hands not to tear them apart before my eyes could read a single word. The boy, Jonas's son, apparently, finally spoke. You really didn't know about me? His voice wasn't angry, just hollow, like he'd rehearsed that question in his head 1,000 times and never got an answer that satisfied him. I shook my head. I didn't even know Jonas was alive. He nodded once, as if he expected that, and turned away. Willa sat there, wringing her hands, chewing her lower lip, eyes darting between us like she was watching two wires spark inches from gasoline. I didn't want it to be like this, she said. Then why was it like this? I snapped. You let me think my brother was dead. You let me grieve him, bury him, mourn him, and then you hide his child from me like it's some backup secret in case you ran out of ways to manipulate people. Her face crumpled, but I wasn't finished. You said he couldn't reach me, but he wrote. And you kept the letters. All of them. Why? The truth hit me mid-sentence. My voice dropped. You didn't just want me to need you, Willa. You needed leverage. She didn't deny it. She just picked up one letter and held it out like an offering. Read it, she said. It explains everything. Against every instinct I had, I took it. The handwriting was unmistakable, Jonas's messy, tilted script. My name scrawled at the top. But what stopped me cold was the date. August 17th. The day before his accident. The day I loaned him my car. The day he disappeared. He used my car, I muttered. Of course he did. My thoughts were unraveling. And somewhere in that haze, another question pushed its way through. Did you help him? Her eyes widened in fear. No, she whispered. But someone did. I looked up. She wasn't talking about Dean. She wasn't talking about herself. And when she said the next name, my knees buckled. It was your mother, Harvey. Your mother helped him disappear. I should have been angry or shocked or something loud, but when Willa said my mother's name, I just sat down. Not because I was tired, but because my body forgot how to stand. The air in the room felt like it had thickened, like I was breathing through wet cement. Willa said it again, quieter this time, like it would hurt less. Your mother knew. She helped Jonas vanish. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. My mind spun through memories I hadn't touched in years. Mom crying at the funeral, her face buried in her sleeve. Mom insisting we get the urn home that same day. Mom not letting me see the remains. It was too awful, she'd said. Don't remember him like that. At the time, I believed her. What kind of monster would lie about that? But now I saw the cracks. Little details I dismissed. The way she never talked about Jonas again. How she refused to hang his photos. And one night, years ago, when I caught her burning something in the fireplace, she said it was just old bills. I remember the smell. That wasn't paper. It was photographs. She never told me. I said, more to myself than anyone else. Willa nodded. Jonas said she made him promise never to contact you. Said she was protecting you. I laughed bitterly. Protecting me from what? The truth? Willa slid a second letter across the table. This one was addressed to her. She wrote me after he left, Willa said. Told me to never speak his name to you. Said it would undo everything he gave up for you. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My brother fakes his death. My mother covers it up. My ex-wife hides the son he never knew he had. And I'm supposed to just keep breathing like none of it rewired my reality? The boy, Jonas's son, stood up. He's alive, he said. I got a message from him 3 weeks ago. I looked up, heart pounding. Where is he? The boy reached into his backpack, pulled out a flip phone, and handed it to me. On the screen was a message with no name, just an address and 2 words. Don't trust. I stared at the message like it might change if I blinked hard enough. Don't trust. That's all it said. No signature. No context. Just that, and a location pinned in the middle of nowhere, some rundown gas station on the edge of a town I'd never heard of. The boy, still no name, still no confirmation that he even believed half of this himself, shifted awkwardly as I handed the phone back. When did you get this? I asked. 3 weeks ago, he said. He told me not to show anyone. But now that you're here, His voice trailed off like he wasn't sure whether this was a mistake or a rescue mission. I turned to Willa, who was practically vibrating with tension. Did you know he was still in contact with Jonas? She shook her head. I swear, I didn't even know where Jonas was. We haven't spoken in over a year. He vanished again. Even his letters stopped. The timing didn't sit right with me. She'd lied before. About Dean. About the letters. About everything. But for once, I believed her, because this time, she looked scared. Not guilty. Scared. I'm going, I said, grabbing my keys. I need to know what the hell is going on. Willa grabbed my arm. If you walk into that place alone, you won't come back the same. Harvey, he's not who you think he is anymore. I pulled away. Neither are you. The drive took 3 hours. I didn't listen to music. Didn't call anyone. I just stared straight ahead, replaying every conversation I ever had with Jonas, hunting for missed signs. The gas station was half buried in weeds. A cracked ice machine out front buzzed like a dying animal. I parked across the road and waited. Nothing. No movement. No figure walking toward me with a long-lost smile. Just silence. I was about to leave when I noticed a piece of cardboard duct taped to the back of the gas pump. One word, written in thick black marker, upstairs. My heart slammed against my ribs. I walked toward the building, every part of me screaming to stop, but I didn't. I climbed the rusted staircase behind the station, every step creaking louder than the last. When I reached the top and opened the door, the first thing I saw was a wall covered in photos. Of me. They weren't just random snapshots. They were specific, purposeful. Some were years old, pulled from what had to be surveillance footage or stolen camera rolls. Me standing outside my old apartment in Buffalo. Me walking Lenny in the rain near my office in Albany. Me eating lunch alone in a park 2 cities away. The most recent one was from 3 days ago. I was at the grocery store, wearing the same jacket I had on now. Same bag. Same bored look on my face. That meant Jonas, or someone working for him, had been following me even after sending the message. My skin crawled. I turned to leave, but the door behind me shut on its own. I froze. A voice, low, tired, came from the far corner of the room. I told you not to come. I spun around. There he was. Jonas. Older, thinner, but unmistakably him. Same uneven jawline. Same scar near his eyebrow from when we were kids, and he tried to jump the fence behind Dad's shed. Why? I asked. My voice cracked like something broken inside me was leaking out. Why fake your death? Why disappear and drag everyone down with you? He didn't move. Didn't blink. Because I had to, he said. I was in something I couldn't get out of. And if I'd stayed, I'd have taken you down with me. He walked to a drawer, opened it, and pulled out a black envelope. This, he said, is why I vanished. I took it slowly. Inside were photocopies of documents, bank transfers, sealed court records, and a name I hadn't heard since college, Carson Vega. I stepped back. He's dead, I said. He OD'd 10 years ago. Jonas shook his head. That's what they wanted you to think. Carson didn't die. He reinvented himself. He runs a ring now. Extortion, fraud, asset laundering. I found out by accident. And he threatened to wipe out our whole family unless I disappeared. My blood turned to ice. So you let us bury an empty coffin? You let Mom grieve you? Jonas's eyes darkened. Mom helped me. She knew who Carson really was. She knew he wasn't done with us. And now, I think he's coming back. He paused, then whispered, and Willem might have led him to you. For the first time in over a decade, Jonas and I sat across from each other without a wall of silence or lies between us. He told me everything. How Carson Vega's operation had swallowed up half the city's political and financial underbelly. How Jonas had stumbled on a single bank file that exposed it all. And how our family's last name showed up on a list of leveraged targets, likely because of something our father had once buried in his business accounts. Jonas chose to disappear, to become untraceable, so we wouldn't get pulled in. And Mom, always too proud to admit how much she knew, helped him vanish with the help of a corrupt funeral director. Jonas had stayed hidden all these years, watching me from a distance, making sure Carson's people didn't find me. But something changed recently. Carson's network had resurfaced, and someone betrayed Jonas's location. Willa. She didn't mean to, Jonas said. Her phone had been cloned during a business trip, and someone traced a call she made to the boy. That's why Jonas sent the message. Don't trust. It wasn't about her heart. It was about her phone. By the time I left that dusty room above the gas station, I knew two things. One, my brother had never truly left me. And two, the past would never stop chasing us unless we faced it together. So we did. Jonas gave me everything: documents, files, the full story, and I brought them straight to the one person Carson would never suspect, the son he didn't know existed. That boy, smart and cautious, gave the evidence to the right hands anonymously. Within weeks, the network began to fall apart. Quietly, efficiently, and Jonas finally got to come home. As for Willa, I don't hate her anymore. We talk now once in a while. She's trying to be a better mother. And me? I finally sleep. Real sleep. No ghosts, no lies, no empty chairs. Just peace. So if you're watching this and you've been living under the weight of unanswered questions, maybe it's time to ask them. And if someone you trusted ever turned your whole world upside down,